Good afternoon. It's actually afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Blender Homestead. I am Sonia. If you have not seen me before or been to my channel, I'd like to welcome you. Today is seed planting. We're going to do some more seed planting, but because we're on a budget, we don't have a lot of money. Hubby is inside making some drain holes in some solo cups and in a couple of those plastic shoe boxes that you can get from Dollar Tree, because that's where we're going to plant our plants today. So let me kick you in and show you. And show you what he's doing. Piper just had to give her 2 cents worth. Right, Piper? Right, Piper? Okay, so now that he's got the holes punched, I'm going to fill this up with some soil, and we are going to plant our onion seeds. So let me get, this is the soil we got. I will tell you a little story of how we got this bag and that bag of soil. There's a bag underneath there. All right, so I have my tray here, or my pot, and I got some soil. Now I don't have to moisten this soil because it was outside, so I can just put it straight in here. So the story about this soil is we had gone over to our local Ace Hardware, knowing that they always have soil out in early spring. And we saw pallets and pallets and pallets of it. And so we looked at it and we thought, well, we'll go in and ask and see if it's available for sale. Asked the manager. She nodded her head yes. We went out, picked out what we wanted. I took a picture of the soil price, and it was $4.29. Went in, showed them this is the soil we wanted, and she says, oh, those signs are old. But she gave it to us for the price. She was very, very nice. We did not take advantage of her. We only got 2 bags, which is about what I think I need. But this top bag that I'm using the soil on is actually raised bed garden soil. It's not seed starter or anything like that. But because the young guy had accidentally cut the bag that was wrapped in that particular order, we took the bag. So we have a bag of raised bed soil. All right, so we have to plant the onion seeds 1/4 of an inch down. I'm going to pat this down a little bit, and then we'll grab a little bit more soil. All right, so now we're going to cover it with a light covering of soil to protect them. Just want to make sure that I don't have any big chunks. All right, so 255 onion seeds are now planted. We'll water them in a little bit. Put the card on top and put the soil in here, and I'll get some more. Now you may ask why I don't just scoop it from the bag right in to where I'm going to put it. Look, this is a piece of stick, and seeds can't propagate in that. There is also, I thought there was a big clump of hard soil, but mostly it's them sticks. So This is why I sift through this and find the bigger sticks and take them out. Now, if you haven't started your garden yet, or you're on the fence whether you should, or you just don't have the space, or you think you don't have the space, you don't need a lot of space. My very first garden was in a bucket, probably more like 10 buckets in an RV park with blacktop ground. And I grew all kinds of wonderful veggies. So yes, you can bucket garden. It works too. Bucket garden actually to me is almost easier because you can move the buckets around if they're getting too much sun or not enough. Easier to check whether or not they need moisture or their soil is not the very best. All right, so these are red burgundies. I didn't count these seeds. I counted the other ones. I'm going to guess there's around 250 seeds in here too. And yes, I'm going to plant them all because guess what? Not all of them are going to come up. And even if they do, I can thin them and I can use them as green onions. And they make wonderful green onions or even microgreens to put in your salad. They also have pelleted ones. They don't last as long. And they also have ones that are colored so that you're not putting black on black. I have not purchased any of those kind of seeds, just these, and they do fine for me as long as I don't keep them for like 5 years, like my other onion seeds. I think I've had those for going on 5 years. My dog Piper seems to think I'm talking to her, so you'll hear her jingling in the background because she hears me talk and then she's thinking I'm talking to her and that she's getting attention no matter who we're talking to. She always thinks we're talking to her. Is your dog like that? All right. At our top soil. It's kind of windy outside today. It's not horrible, but if you hear any noises, it's because the wind's blowing up against the house. So both onions are now planted out. All right, so now that all of the holes have been drilled or melted into the bottom of the cups, I have a secondary cup that has no holes. This is basically a cup and cup so that when you water, it won't drain and run everywhere. Some people just can't afford the long trays that catch all the water when you're just starting out or you're on a limited income. This is actually a very reasonable cost to starting seeds. Now these are not all of my cups. I have a lot more, but I'm not going to make you watch me plant all of them. But I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done, how I create its own little greenhouse. And so I'll bring you down here and you can see how it's done. All right, so I have a disposable paper bowl. And what I do is, now these are my Space Master bush cucumbers. I got these a couple of years ago. We'll see if they'll sprout. We'll see how many I have left. That's about all of them in there. I'm going to do 2 per, so let's see if I have enough. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How perfect did I plan that? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. What I do is I take one of these cups. I'm trying to figure out which best angle for you guys. Okay, so I take one of these cups and I'm going to put 2 per. So I'm going to drill a little hole with my pencil for each side. Make sure I break up the soil. And place a seed in each hole, cover it up. Then I got this little spray bottle from, I want to say Walmart, for like 97 cents about 6 or 7 years ago. So it's paid for itself multiple times over. I water it in really well because, again, my soil kind of dried out overnight. And then I take a piece of plastic wrap and I cut it just a little bit larger than the cup. And I made its own little greenhouse. Well, I'm almost done. I'm so close. I have 6 more vegetable seeds to plant. I have kohlrabi, both the purple and the white. I have eggplant, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and artichoke. And then I have a handful of flowers that I have left to plant. I can plant these probably tomorrow, but the flowers I will wait probably another couple more weeks. I do have a couple of flowers. I think I have 2 actually planted. I actually have 3 flowers planted. I got both 2 kinds of pansies and a giant zinnia so far planted. So now that they are all planted, they all have their little greenhouse on them. There is a heater beside me over here that actually helps keep them a little bit warm. It's not a perfect science. This is an old mobile home. It loves to let cold in, and we fight with it, and hopefully I can keep it warm enough in this area of the house that these guys will sprout. I already have the top grow light hooked up. I just need to have my husband drill some holes on the middle shelf, and then we'll have light on this side, and then we'll have another long one on the bottom. That's not going to be exactly like that, but it's the same kind of concept light. It is a multi-spectrum. It's purple. The one in the middle on this side is white. And then once they sprout, I'll have to get a second one to put on this side because I actually bought the 4-footer instead of I think it was 6 foot. I bought the 4-foot thinking that I was just going to use one shelf. I was so mistaken. When you start planting seeds, you jump down a rabbit hole. You really do. Last year, I planted enough to maybe fill, I want to say two shelves, like the top shelf and then the second shelf. And then I bought a bunch of already started plants, and thinking that I didn't have enough knowledge or experience to be able to start all my seeds on my own, that I chose to go to a local nursery and pick up a bunch of plants. And here's the thing with when you buy plants at a nursery, you have no clue how they raised those seeds. Were they, I want to say, were they pampered? Were they left inside of a greenhouse 100% of the time? Were they even exposed to the outside to get hardened off? Were there fans running on these seedlings as they were growing? You don't know these things. And I didn't think about that last year. And 2 plants, 2 tomato plants, 2 cabbage plants, 2 cucumber plants were basically almost $3 a piece, on the exception of the tomatillos. Tomatillos were $3 each. And I bought a lot. So I want to say I probably spent close to $100 in already started plants. And 3/4 of them died because I had no clue how they were grown. And so I bought them at the greenhouse. It was the proper week for us to plant them out. And we did. And they were so shocked from being inside of an enclosed environment, and they went outside, and half of them died. The ones that didn't were extremely stunted. My celery only got this tall. No joke. It got this tall. It grew that much after I brought it home and put it in the ground. My eggplants were also about that tall. Made 2 eggplants, 1 per plant, and that was it. My peppers were also the same way. More than half of them died, and they were very, very stunted. They were probably 6, maybe 7 inches tall. And I was probably lucky if I got 2 peppers off of each plant before they died. The only one plant that did really well, I had 1 cabbage plant, one cabbage plant that made a really decent head. But it took so long for it to recover after it was shocked. So this year I had decided that I'm going to start all of my own seeds. I'm not buying any plants whatsoever, and whatever pops up is what's going into the garden or what's going to be sold. So that I know that they were exposed to wind, which right over there is a little fan. And I will have another fan down here and another fan up there. And they will be exposed to moving air from the moment they emerge from their seed. Their whole life, they're going to be exposed to wind and temperature differences. So it gets really warm in here during the day. I think today it got up to about 65 degrees, and it's supposed to snow tonight. So it's probably going to get down into probably the mid 40s, maybe upper 50s. And if these seeds sprout, they'll be hardy. They really will. And I had seeds saved from the previous year from some of those horrible plants, but some of them made really wonderful vegetables. Like my peppers, they were huge, they were big, but they only made like 2. And so my hope is, because I did this and I took seeds from that struggling plant that made really big vegetables, that I'll get a pretty hardy plant that'll handle being able to be a little bit on the chilled side. Same thing with the what else did I plant? Same for the broccoli, because I struggled with the broccoli and I let one go to seed, the best looking one go to seed. And so I collected a lot of seed. So I'm starting with that plant. So now that I've planted all those items, I have a little journal here that I keep. It's just a little book. It's super cute. I got it at a secondhand store. And in this book, I mark what seeds I planted, what company the seeds came from, how what date that I planted them, and what date they sprouted. And then I also have this list, and this is a list that tells me how many I planted, so that I kind of know and what to expect to come out of each cup, because I tried to make sure that I wrote on each cup how many seeds were in each one. But like the broccoli, I just sprinkled them, so I have no clue. I couldn't even write down how many broccoli seeds I planted, because they're so tiny. So the ones I did know how many I planted, I put the quantity that I planted, how many I plan to keep, how many I plan to sell, how many is going to be in each container that I plan to sell. Like the tomatoes will be 2 per cup, and then how much I'm going to sell them for. And pretty much everything except for my giant zinnias will be $2. And then how many cups I will have of each of those items, and then how much I will potentially make if all the seeds sprout. They don't all have to sprout. I'll make adjustments. And then I can find out or figure out approximately how much I'm going to make for the year. This helps me out a lot, because then I know potentially from just the plants what kind of income I'm going to have And if I have anything that I need to purchase for the next year, I can put it on that list and say that that money came from these plants. Like, I want to make sure I have at least 5 or 6 bags of seed starting soil or compost or something like that. I also want to make sure I have all the cups that I need and all my lighting done. I need to have masking tape and a Sharpie. And I also want to purchase a greenhouse the end of this year, because then I can have all these guys out there. It takes time. We don't have a lot of money. We're on a fixed income, limited budget, and we make do with what we can come across or use. So my total investment on all of this was about $58. And when I sell, if I get to sell everything that I'm looking at selling, I will make somewhere close to $1,000. So for a $58 investment, plus I'll have a garden, plus I'll have vegetables that I'll be able to sell that come out of that garden that are overage. So that's stuff that I'm not even counting either. If you live in an area that you can't have a garden, there's no way or ability for you to have a garden, but you want one, you can work towards the future. And how you do that is just like what I'm doing behind me. Get a couple of plastic shelves, get some grow lights, get some solo cups, and some seeds. Don't keep anything, but maybe a few flowers for fun. And sell everything. Go to the farmer's market and sign up to sell. And sell everything you grow. All the plants. Sell them all. And then you take that money, invest in, say, a small greenhouse, put it on to wherever you're living, if you have like a little lot or a yard, and you grow more plants. This time, maybe you'll add in some pretty flowers, because those will sell even after the people who want vegetable plants are done. People who want pretty flowers are always doing pots, always doing hanging baskets. They always want flowers. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop all the way up until close to the first frost. So you can make money that way too. Put the money away, save it, and get yourself a little piece of land. That's just my 2 cents worth. I don't know how you would want to do it, or if you've already done it, how did you do it? I would love to see your comments below and see how you got your piece of land. So I hope you enjoyed this seed planting of 2025 video. I thank you very much. And if you made it this far, please hit that like button and that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And that way you'll get notified each time I upload one of these videos. My shoulder is getting better, so I'll be able to do some more cooking videos. And you know, guys, it's gluten-free. I already have a list. I'm ready to go. I'm gnawing at the bit. Just got to wait for my shoulder to get a little bit better. And this seed planting is helping me get more movement for my shoulder. So guys, again, I appreciate you making it all the way to the end. And until next time, bye.